Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We have CL Quals number 4 on the way for your team to get their last chance at getting into this season's NA Challenger League, which is season number 10. I'm gathered with a great friend of mine, Benny, all the way coming over as an ESL caster and a great friend of mine. How you doing, Benny?
I'm doing fantastic today. We have two teams here, Our Bad and Path Alliance, and we'll see the members of the team. We'll go over the names real quick. On the side of Our Bad is Glitch, Beastly, Rav, Redeemer, and Carnage versus Hero, Arctic, Movie, Rinks, and Fate on Path Alliance. We'll go over the bans from starting out.
Now, Thatcher ban coming out, that's going to be quite interesting, seeing is that Border, I believe we're on, is not quite a Thatcher-heavy banning map. Typically, you're going to see Thatcher being played and being used abruptly simply because of this vast majority of intel that he can deny. So that being banned out is going to be quite interesting, to say the least. Now, as for tagging ban for Path Alliance, if I believe, could potentially see more of a Nomad style ban as they are particularly aggressive. But that's not going to be the case this round, as Captain will be outright banned to try and limit the, I guess you say, maneuverability, or not necessarily limit it, but widen it for the defenders. As you're not familiar with, Captain basically allows you to smoke off a certain area, and it will not be caught by an ADS. He can also allow you to Captain firebolt an arrow into a certain vicinity, and it will expand over time. Over this set period of time, you will take damage if you're a defender walking into this, or even attacker if that's the case. So him being outright banned allows a little bit more comfortability when it comes to denying a plan with either C4 or peeking an angle. Mira and Maestro, no surprise, they're two quite strong operators within the current state, as they possess probably the best abilities in the entire game, which is intel gathering.
Yeah, not too crazy to see bans wise, but still, Thatcher ban is interesting. I don't see usually banned out here on Border. Let's see how it benefits the defense. But we'll start first here.
It's going to be really interesting because, again, like Thatcher's one of those operators you typically has a go-to on Border, so either it's to be complete detriment, but seeing as that there's already a leash coming out on the board, and every single one of these operators is countered by Thatcher, so you can tell that, they're trying to use the best of their capability and try and use their majority of advantage.
That does leave Jackal on the board, though, so Jackal's now available, and so is Nomad, so is any other rotation or roam denial operators available for the attackers of Our Bad. So more than anything, looks like they're gonna take advantage of that and already bring Nomad on Carnage.
That's quite an interesting six pick, because Ashe for an IQ is not something you would typically associate with this operator lineup, but that's being banned on the board, as we've already previously mentioned. IQ is typically the next go-to pick. So banning Ashe not banning Ashe, but six picking Ashe doesn't make much quite sense, simply because you allow so many gadgets. Not to mention Echo is also on the board, so he's most likely going to get played simply because you don't have any other operator that is viable, seeing as that Maestro is banned. So that being the case is not going to be one of the most, I guess, say, upbringing things. It's going to be quite surprising. So we're going to be heading upstairs onto Armory Lockers. Typically associated is the favored bomb site, I would say. Very little iteration do you see regarding the first bomb site. Sometimes it might be some defense, maybe throw up a little bit of operator selection, get some tier 3 teams, but for the majority of the time it'll be upstairs on Armory.
So we'll start the round out with the guys coming in, and yeah, again, Beast is not going to be an Ashe on IQ, but Ashe, so those Ekryokai Jones would be rampant for the defenders. And more than anything, you guys know where Our Bad's coming from. You have seen them play in USN, you've seen them play in other qualifiers and in CL before. They were in CL previously at one time, so you definitely know how well they do. But again, one point you think about Redeemer, though, is on the board here. And they've already entered into CC and Break, though. They're already taking control. Break, the one person off site right now is Arctic, Creed inside office. All the other rest of the defenders, except for Pate, is downstairs inside of Fate's in workshop, while the rest of them are on site. But fast, they're moving quick though. They are moving very efficiently here on Our Bad side.
This is going to be quite interesting, seeing as that Redeemer obviously bringing the pro league experience, not to mention he just has just at the Invitational. It's going to be quite interesting bringing him to the roster, because I do believe he's still under contract with SSG, seeing as that Our Bad is under contract with the organization. He's eligible to play for them in a system throughout the qualifier, so he's going to bring a lot of experience onto the table, and I believe it's going to be absolutely crucial, simply because Our Bad seem to have lost at times. Sometimes they seem motivated, and sometimes weren't able to finish rounds that they were able to outright win. I do believe with Redeemer stepping in place of Tuffy, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be quite an elevated standpoint. Now, we see a 5-on-5 ensue. Wall is open, so Rav's going to be able to get a line of sight onto anyone crossing throughout the middle area of Armory, or if anyone tries to entry from Mini. Now, he's going to catch one right off guard, and unfortunately, it will be the Zofia who is taken out. But enough for Rav gets the refrag, and it's going to be a 4-on-4 situation. Now, with a minute and 30 seconds left, you're going to start trying to find out where your ideal situation is for your entry on a site. Also going to try and perhaps burn some utility to try and lighten up the load when it comes to the final push.
Redeemer gets one though on his end. Now they're going to enter. I'm trying to figure a way to plant here though. It's time to work out. Pizza gets one on movie as well though. It's R ticking down to the last minute, and last people are finding out. Carnage's going around the R decreed, and the last person left will be Fate all alone coming up the south or east stairs all by himself. Redeemer will plant the diffuser, and now we're in a 1v4 post-1 situation for Path Alliance here, and it's just definitely a very good strat. But again, it just seems like they lost most of the gunfights though on the side of Path Alliance. They didn't really use any utility either. He doesn't see one right behind half wall. Nobody Carnage to finish him off. Our bad win the first round.
So overall from that round, you had Path Alliance get the first impact frag. They got the first pick on the board. They got the Zofia. Okay, so you got the impacts removed, and you got the stuns removed. And then they weren't able to win a single gunfight. They weren't able to use any utility, and then Jaeger was caught off in a really bad positioning. I think the positioning for not just Jaeger, but the entirety of that roster was just simply not in place. You had no one in a situation to get refrags. You have no one in there to get an impact frag. That would have been in an ideal standpoint. Obviously, Zofia was peaked and died, but she could have easily just gotten, the kill. I mean, there was no one in place to refrag him, and unfortunately, I don't see that as being a very viable strat when it came to their positioning. However, when it came to their organization of the bomb site, it did seem they know what they're doing, and they does seem they know what they're going up against. However, will they be able to implement it is the question we must ask. Now, they're going to go back upstairs to Armory, so they're going to try and defend the bomb site, which they previously defended unsuccessfully. Now, do keep in mind, there is a 3-round rotation parameter, so if you win one bomb site, it will be disabled for the next 3 rounds. Seeing that they have not won it, they're eligible to go back upstairs.
Do you have anything?
So go for
my thing for that round though is I feel like they didn't really use a lot of utility either that round either. Just everybody tried to peek out against our bad pushing through the West Albury. It just didn't feel right at that point, as they all just lost every single fight after that one in first frag for Path Alliance.
Yeah, it didn't seem like they were extremely coordinated with what they had going underway, simply because, wall got opened and they all decided to peek. They didn't really have any justified peeks. Maybe they had an yokai spotting them out. But if that was the case, then wouldn't you have ultrasonic bursted the player and then decided to peek? So it was quite interesting to see their psychological standpoint behind what they decided to do. Ultimately, didn't come down too much. They took control of CC early. There was really no denial when it came to trying to entry in there, and there was no denial on the wall, so they got that open very easily. And unfortunately, they weren't able to close out the round. However, that is in the past. We are now in the future, and we will decide to go. And true, I believe we have the same attacks. They're going to try and take control of CC. However, this time around, we will see a Jaeger playing in that little cubby spot, and Rav is going to fight entry frag, and we'll be able to get the pick, though. There's someone there to refrag him, so I do believe this Jaeger is going to be absolutely pounced upon, and then he will get taken out. 5-on-4 ensues. Beautiful shot by the right Rav, and great coordination coming out from our bad as they're eligible to make it a 5-on-4, not losing a single bit of HP.
That was a really quick rail, and there's just nobody really to work with Fate to help him out in that situation. Unfortunately, there's no rotation either in his situation to help him at least rotate out, as he's being pushed by 2 different operators.
Yeah, not much you can do in that situation. Again, no one there to refrag the player, and unfortunately, Jaeger falls, and no one's there to pick him back up, seeing as that, well, he's not in the down out stage, he is dead. And to be honest, I think that positioning overall was really unjust. I don't think it's a good spot to enthrall yourself within, and if you are going to position yourself in there, you have to have a rotation out, and the second you see that you're not in a viable position to, 1, get an impact frag, or 2, get a frag and then immediately get refragged by someone who may not be as crucial, you have to forfeit that standpoint. He chose not to, he chose to take the gunfight, and he ultimately lost. You know who also lost their gunfight? That would be Muni on the other side of things. So that's the only C4, to my understanding, unless Bandit has one on the board, but a 5-on-2 scenario ensues. Not looking so good for inside of Path Alliance, as our bad, able to get frag after frag after frag.
Carnage get one Arctic Creed though. We're coming down to the last minute here. It's Carnage gets another. Glitch finishes up, but Movie gets one at least on Carnage, but still Glitch finishes up on Movie and a refrag. And our bad taking a second round here, as again it's just they're not winning any gunfights or using any utility to really even deny a plan.
It's questionable, man. I really don't understand what's going on here. They simply just aren't eligible to get any refrags. They're not winning their ones, and if this is continuous, I cannot see Path Alliance winning this game outright. I mean, nothing has gone their way. They have a set idea in mind. However, it's not going to plan whatsoever, simply because people have really poor positioning and really poor timing. Not necessarily timing like, oh, I was holding this angle and then I started to look away 1 second, but in the sense that you're not watching at certain angles at certain time periods. So seeing as that they haven't really implemented anything to try and counteract the push from our bad and have simply done I guess you could say, their own style of defense, it's not looking too good whatsoever, simply because if you don't have this adaptation that's ever so necessary to outright win these rounds, you know, it's something you definitely have to try and change up while your team with it.
The fact that they're trying it for a third time is really worrisome as well, too. They're really not really... They brought the Clash along on Arctic. They're changing up a little bit here and there, but they're not making enough adaptations to really change up the gameplay and try and figure out a different strat against our bad.
Yeah, it's quite questionable. I mean, I'd love to see some adaptation come out, perhaps get some one round back on the board. And, you know, 2-0 down, it's not the worst. Okay, you can still perhaps get a 4-2 split. But again, that mid-round adaptation is going to be ever so necessary if they are to try and go up 4-2. Border isn't one of the most defensive-sided maps. It's rather even, I'd say. Even if sometimes it can be attacker-sided depending on how the ban phase has gone. And the thing is, if Thatcher is banned, it should be defender-sided, simply because he's a really crucial operator when it comes to taking not just this teleport bomb site, but any bomb site on this map in general. Obviously, there's different means of trying to dispose of utility that Thatcher might be able to do a lot easier, but that takes time. And time on Border is probably one of its biggest constraints. A lot of teams struggle with it, and a lot of teams use it to their advantage. Our round is one of those teams who use their advantage, so...
I'm interested because I have two people inside of Breakroom and CCTV covering it this time. And that's all the glitch has been Zofia every single time, and they're bringing a Clash this time instead, as Clash is easily, not easily, but is countered by Clash though. Or countered by Zofia. I'm trying to... Okay, so I like what they have set up. Obviously, they're seeing this adaptation, okay? However, they have a Clash position with a rather interesting point. Not to mention, the Zofia's entry frag upon this point most rounds. So all it takes is two people repelling, a Zofia then can concussion, and then ultimately, okay, that just happened. Hello, how you doing? Goodbye. And oh my god, it's a what? It's just an absolute flurry of kills, double kill, and it's a 3-minute. The round has just started. What? The round's over already at this point. Now it's a 1v3. And it's Echo though, so he has the yokais available to spot and then also delay them, but it's still a minute and a half to go on the clock as everyone from Path Alliance does this at least kill 2 frags. You got 2 refrags on the side of, I think it was the Smoke got 2 refrags, at least Hero got 2, but that was about it.
I mean, he may have 2 yokais, but I'd rather have 2 teammates in this case. It's all but
very
round,
true.
And unfortunately, they're going to go for the plant, and he's in a rather ideal standpoint. I do believe Echo's not in his yokais to deny it. If a teammate would call out, he can actually deny it, simply because there's someone right
he'll get one though. He'll get
right now.
On a flank, but no, it'll be Redeemer to finish him off, and our battle win another round, and that was a...
That was... I don't understand what happened, okay? So, they got the impact frag that they needed. Got first blood, alright? Someone was off the repel. Then they decide to just all kamikaze themselves into the sites that are set up by the attackers. I don't understand. Like, my brain hurts after that. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, so you had 1 kill from Hero. He peeks out behind the Clash, gets 1. Great job.
Yeah.
But then unfortunately you had the Valk and the Jaeger. You had the Valk and the Jaeger inside CCTV and Breakroom that then also get aggressive and peek out on the doorway in the window. They get immediately fragged out. Hero gets another one in the instance though, and then Clash gets killed as well because she's already low in health from a grenade from before. And then it's a 1v4 or 1v3. I mean,
they had the most ill-advised peeks. There was no reason behind it. There was no justification behind it. They just said, "Hey, I'm gonna peek this and hope I don't die," and they died. So there's nothing much to say after that. There's literally just ill-advised spawn kills, or not spawn kills, but ill-advised. I guess you could say, I wouldn't say runouts, like, what do you call when you peek out? So, yeah, if I do believe that aggression is necessary to counteract our bad. If you're this specified roster, constructing either playstyle, they want to be aggressive, however, they're using it in the wrong places, if that makes any sense. They're trying to position people downstairs, they've made that adjustment, and they're placing them upstairs. But then when they got upstairs, they just peek at all the wrong times. So you can tell they're trying to be aggressive, and you show they're being assertive of their standpoint and where they're trying to hold. However, again, it's this timing, it's this line of sight, and it's knowing when to peek and when not to peek. The passive aggressiveness needs to be implemented by Path Alliance if they are to come out with this match. So far, our bad is looking really, really strong. They are having really good coordinated pushes. Obviously, maybe they could have done a little bit better trying to dispose of the Clash last round, but it didn't really matter. They were able to get kills necessary, and they were able to put themselves on a farther standpoint.
So we'll be going to at least a different bomb site this time. We're going downstairs to Workshop and Ventilations for our next site. But again, let's see how they can defend it, because they still have to defend upstairs for a a longer amount of time than before, at least in the previous rounds. As you'll see, Hero and Movie holding upstairs, one holding in office, one holding in armory. They are kind of split up, so it may not work in their favor. Movie will spot Rav already at the window into office, and you'll see Beastly walking through to pinch out the last person. Rav gets a grenade on the Movie though. That was a great grenade from Rav. The last person will be Hero inside of armory, all by themselves.
Legion off the board, not looking so good. That's probably one of the worst operators he could have been taken out, simply because his gadget gets stronger over time. For a certain period of time, I believe it's 35 seconds, he'll be able to get a goo mine. But before I even am able to finish my seconds, Mozzie is another one to bite us. A 5-on-3 already. It's not looking so good for the defensive lineup, as they are already constrained to their positions, and their positions aren't too strong of that. Our bat absolutely dispatching anyone that looks anywhere near their eyes. Before they're even able to see the whites in their eyes, they are all but faded, since they are not able to win any gunfights.
Yeah, it's coming on to the last minute and a half here, and they've already got a pretty shot sight, half sight at this point. They're on pushing for a bathroom. You see Redeemer in the bathroom waiting to open up. Rin here is getting droned out by Redeemer though. Now there's Carnage to finish out her upstairs though, and there goes your last roamer. Oh, he gets another one to Fate as well, and Rev will finish off on a Rin, and it's falling apart here for Alliance.
I don't think it's falling apart. I think they already fell, and they're just trying to crawl their way like back up.
Okay, maybe they're already at the bottom and they never come back up.
You know what? You know they from the help I fall and I can't get up. I feel like that's what's going through their brain right now, and they're trying to crawl their way up the staircase. The only problem was they just somehow broke their ankle on the way up, and it's not looking too good. So, I honestly I can't express how lost Path Alliance looks right now. It does not seem to know their right adjustments they need to make, but you also have to attribute a little bit to our bad. They are an extremely experienced team, they are a really good team of that, and they are winning the gunfights that are necessary, and they're making the pushes onto sites that are deemed acceptable. So, nothing too ludicrous from them, they're just simply doing their own playstyle, and they're doing it really well. I do believe they've been together with this roster for God knows how long. I think a year as the core roster. So
it's been a while, yeah.
It's been a really long time. They did not split up after losing Sia. A lot of teams did split up. I believe, God, how many teams split up? Was Toon split up? Then
Toon split up.
Elevate
OC,
split up.
Over OC did as well.
OC split up. Then Elevate split up.
Yep.
Then Rise got relegated from Pro League, and then Luminosity at the time was known as Vicious, and then the 92 Dream Team. They went to Pro League. Obviously, they're not known as Luminosity Gaming. Then we had another team go in, and that was the side of Susquehanna Sonics, as they were able to beat Rise Nation in the qualifiers, or relegations, not qualifiers. And every single team, except for our bad, I believe, disbanded. Yeah, so SG disbanded, which was CSKDS. And no, that's I think that's every team. So they were the only team to stay together.
Ooh, but Arctic will start first though.
So he says, I don't care what you say, I'm going to peek the single, and I'm going to outright win it, as he's able to peek and kill the Sledge. The frag grenades off the board. However, the plant's already going down. A 4-on-5 scenario ensues. Frags are being necessary. However, he's going to get ultrasonic burst. As we restart the plant phase, gunfight's going to ensue inside customs. However, Sophia's going to wisely rotate off that point and try and concuss it. But another ultrasonic burst comes out, or not an ultrasonic burst, but rather a gunfight ensues, and a gunfight will be won, as Kite is unfortunately taken out from above, and it is currently a 3-on-2 in favor of Path Alliance. Rather aggressive push coming out from our bad. It does not look like it's going too well for them, and our bad it is.
So this round really has come down to just a flurry of just movements. They really rush the objective here for our bad, but they have the lead and see to do so as a 4-0 in their favor. Still very great response here from Path Alliance to at least deny that. You're here upstairs, using that vertical play quite well in the favor of the TCSG, and now it's down to a 2v4.
It's not looking too good. This was aggression meets aggression. You had an extremely aggressive push come out, or not aggressive push, but rather an aggressive peak, followed by an aggressive push, followed by an aggressive push, and then another aggressive peak. So it's been really back and forth. However, back and forth in the ways that aren't typically seen as, well, as back and forth comes. Typically, you'll have a team maybe try and push upstairs, they'll maybe get man advantage, and then they'll perhaps lose it. And that's typically the most ludicrous thing we could see. But we're just going to see two teams just solo pushing, decide to solo peek everything, and they're going to, well, not work out. So it's going to be a 1v3 scenario, and it's going to be Carnage. Last one alive on the Nomad. He's got not much HP to work with. However, we've seen some miracles in the past, not to mention he's an extremely talented player when it comes to his mechanical skill. And if he knows his players to his left, he's going to be able to win it outright. And win it outright, he does. Double kill for him on the round, but a 1v2. He will need to find 2 more, get that quadruple kill if he is to make it a 5-0 scoreline. However, 4-1 split isn't looking so bad, so it's not all over if they lose this round. They're still quite in the driver's seat, I must say so myself. However, on the side of Path Alliance, you really need this round. Your mentality right now is so down, so being able to pull one back and perhaps get that motivation you need to try and pursue, well, a victory or even a less embarrassing defeat would be quite nice.
With only 40 seconds to go, it's either get 2 kills or plant. I don't know if he's going to plant with still 2 operators and Yokai's on the board. He'll walk by Fate, and Fate will finish him off. And now we Path Alliance to win their first defense, though, as I would say win, but also at the same point, I feel like our bat kind of just threw that.
They stopped the bleeding. That's the best way to describe it, okay? They cut their knee open and they put a band-aid over it. However, the band-aid's just covered in water and it's about to fall off. So unless they're able to replace it and put some reinforcements in on it, it's not going to be looking so good. And might just see a little bit of a... It's a sinking ship. A little bit of a hole in a sinking ship, and it doesn't look like those panels are going to be closed.
Yeah, and they're going to go back to Armory and Lockers and Archives as their next sites. They won one finally, but same point, they haven't been able to keep this yet, and they aren't really changing it up too much. But we'll see at least Hero 6-pick onto a Vigil. We'll see a 6-pick back onto the Zofia for Beastly, so nothing too crazy.
I'm not a huge fan of the Vigil pick, simply because I think the Mozzie was working really well. I don't think Vigil would be the solution to that, and obviously... Yeah, I mean, I guess I can understand it, maybe to try and get a more aggressive standpoint upstairs, and that's the reason you're taking it, to try and, I guess, prevent you getting spotted out, and then perhaps you can get aggressive. However, the Mozzie worked out really well, not to mention she has a C4, which I think, if used properly, positioned properly, could potentially try and play someone below, simply because they have not pushed below once, if you try and get a more aggressive standpoint on trying to hold work office, or even ventilation for that matter, if you decide to hold that, which I don't recommend, but it's always a possibility because some teams bring out some ludicrous things that end up working. So,
See if I haven't seen a C4 in general from this game.
I don't think we haven't seen a single like denial of entry from this team, except for one point, and that's because Bandit literally just yeeted through the hallway and shot someone in the back. I don't know how he didn't get shot, but their one like glorified play was that Bandit was for some reason able to just rotate in a position he wasn't supposed to rotate in, and that's why they won around. I don't know
the
who
only time
was.
we've seen so far, but we have 2 downstairs. You have Fate and a Hero down below. Maybe to play some downstairs. You have, but those C4 though, so they really can't play below in a sense like that.
I feel like because their onside hold isn't that strong. They've lost the majority of their gunfights. I believe they're able to delay as much time as possible though, and try and force the gunfights to come out a little bit later than try C4 on either a default plant spot or by lockers. It's a possibility to outright win the round for them. However, if they keep sticking to what they're doing, I don't see them prospering.
So we have Arctic here trying to ban a trick, but same below rate. Fate is trying to stop him. Fate will actually run out.
Okay.
Actually, good enough. Fate Arctic will run out, and Glitch will finish him off.
Yeah, so that's exactly what we didn't need to see. However, you know what we did need to see? That's a crucial pick coming out there. That's a Nomad off the board. It's a 4v4 situation, so you trade a Nomad for a Bandit. I would argue that as being a really good trade, probably in favor of the attackers, simply because Nomad is probably already disposed to our utility that you wanted to use. However, Bandit off the board, it's not going to be one of the worst things, since the wall was most likely going to get opened anyways. However, Jaeger falls, and unfortunately, that's going to be your Fragger not able to pick up a single frag, and the plant's most likely to go down, and does not believe that Echo's in a good spot to try and outright take him out, simply because, yep, no, there's not a single yokai there. It's already been taken out by the IQ, because they positioned it in really bad spots, no one there playing C4, and then Vigil, as we talked about, not being useful in this scenario, not being useful in the scenario. He's just actually on the flank right now, and no one is spotting this out from Our Bad, and it's not going to work out whatsoever. Our Bad reads into it as he unfortunately misses some shots, and 5-1 split going in favor of Our Bad on the offense, so that's definitely not what you were looking for if you're a Path Alliance, and for Our Bad, this is just a breeze.
I guess, yeah, at this point, I feel like it's just they're just being outclassed by experience. Did you really see it, though? It's unfortunate.
Yeah. I think it's not as much as them being outclassed by experience. I think it's them being inexperienced, and they're getting outclassed for that reason.
Yeah,
like
it's
I don't see Our Bad's not doing anything like too spiffy or like too ludicrous. It's not like, oh, they're coming out with some revolutionary thing. They're literally just like doing a little bit of a rank play style. They're pushing
Well,
site and they're
they're
winning
just
their
following the
gunfights.
steps for Border at
Yeah.
this point. They're following the meta steps that everybody knows for taking Border.
Well, obviously, there's like, there's a little bit more like adaptation, perhaps playing someone
Yeah,
below,
yeah.
cutting off certain rotations, but they're not even placing anything on flank. They're just going in and they're
No.
winning gunfights.
Yeah, it's the unfortunate part. Like you could have had two people, either Yokai and Legion there. Legion opens the wall, to try and deny them, but Yokai was still, Yokai is taken out too at that point by
They
IQ,
haven't
maybe.
played smoke once.
That's true.
They didn't play
as well,
smoke
yes.
once. And smoke is probably the best power in deny entry, and they just kept entering. So it's simply an experience, simply because they guess how to adapt. I feel like adaptation is their main key. And if they are to succeed, I haven't seen many gunfights ensue in which they looked like an upheaval team. So unfortunately, in that instance, they're also lacking behind. So our bad simply just a top class team. Okay, they are really good, really good. Okay, you can't say, oh, they haven't done so well in past qualifiers, they've been looking so good. That does not undermine the skill that every single one of these players have, mechanically and mentally. And I do believe they are going to be one of these teams that perhaps even comes out of qualifier and that confident. And you can't just judge it off this one match. Just because they beat one team doesn't mean like, oh yeah, they can go all the way. This is a team just brought Redeemer in. Redeemer for Tuffy, I would say he's really good regarding experience. Plus Redeemer, he's just an amazing player. Like, there's no denying it. He's
He's
one of
literally
the best
Echo
players.
player on, and
He
right
is
now,
the
with
best.
Torment.
In my opinion, I would say Redeemer is the best Echo player. He transitioned a little bit over to Maestro and like late stages, but when he played Echo when Echo wasn't even in the meta, and he was a god tier at it. He was by far the best Echo player in the world. So, like, bringing him in is just going to be great simply because he was on SSG, which is obviously a really talented lineup, and obviously brought a lot of new things to the table. I mean, you don't typically associate SSG with being, oh, this completely inventive team. Oh, they bring the newest things. Usually you associate that with Dark Zero. However, they are a team that brings really cool, not necessarily new meta-changing stuff, but just stuff we like to see brought out. Like, maybe they'll do a little bit of an adaptation regarding some hold or positioning will be, a little bit more ludicrous, or maybe they'll try something that not many teams have seen before. They've seen it before, however, it's not as commonly used, and they'll make it work, and that's what's so interesting about the team, and that's why everyone loves them. So, him bringing that into our bad, it's going to be quite interesting. And unfortunately, Carnage is not going to be Sun right there, so that's not going to be so good for Path Alliance that they are to try an entry and take him out. You know what's going to be really good for? That's going to be our bad, because they're already in 1 minute and 30 seconds, and they have not even entered the building. And unfortunately, that's going to be a peek out from Redeemer on the classic Echo plays. He's going to be able to take out Sophia. Concussion Mine's completely nullified, however, the wall will be open. He's going to decide to peek out and try gunfights that he can. Caster himself winning out another gunfight. That's going to be really crucial. That's going to be really nice.
Looks like Carnage is trying to finish one off. Glitch will get hero though, and now we're coming out with 1 minute, which is Rav gets another one. Fate with a G3 fragging a Rav. Now it's down to just Fate on his own. Rainbow can fake another one. Beastly though, as he's trying to enter an archives. He'll almost take down Glitch, but unfortunately will not be able to in that engagement.
If he wins this, I'll donate $100 to charity of your chat's choice.
He's gonna go back and he's gonna be finished up by Carnage, and no, that's not gonna happen. Oh.
Honestly, I'm gonna say because Redeemer's a caster, that's why they're winning. This is proven evidence, obviously. If you're not familiar with what I'm referring to, obviously Redeemer isn't well known as a caster. He just recently got accepted into the DreamHack Montreal lineup as a caster/analyst. So I'm really excited to bring in. Taylor is a great guy. I've met him in person. He's a really chill one, and he knows how to speak really well about the game. He's a very intelligent player. So him coming into that lineup is ever so exciting, and he's also gonna be casting.
DreamHack Montreal. I'm excited.
I really want to. I'm trying to fix it into my schedule so I can go because I love everyone there. Oh, it'd be so amazing.
I'll watch. I'll be watching from home, but yeah, no, I can't go. I would love to.
I'm trying to figure it out, man. If I can go, that'd be amazing because I love everyone there, and it's gonna be a great showing. And if you aren't thinking about tuning in, tune in because there's a lot of really good teams playing, and it's a really good showcasing of talent across not just North America, but also Europe and Brazil. So I do believe FaZe Clan and G2 are also participating within DreamHack Montreal, if I'm not mistaken. So we head back on to Border. Most likely to announce with bomb site, seeing that it has opened up, seeing as that one bomb site has been, kind of locked off, as we were talking about that 3-round rotation parameter. 6-1 scoreline, looking heavily in favor of our bad. One round they managed to slip away. It was a round that was a little bit of a mistake. Not necessarily watching the rotation that was necessary to watch. So one little hiccup right there cost them one round, but in the long term, our bad just pummeling round after round, and unfortunately, Path Alliance failing to adapt.
Yeah, unfortunately that round, just last round though, just how much time they wasted though in the end. They just had to rush it
Yeah.
for the team of Path Alliance. As
It didn't even come down to time. Like they burned
I guess
so
they
much
come down to
time, and
time.
then they just killed them all. Like
Yeah, it was the fact that they
so
spent
chaotic.
so long outside CT and Breakum didn't really execute anything to try and get the roamers outside of that site at all.
Yeah, it was quite unfortunate. But I mean, you really cannot undermine like how well this roster is doing so far.
It's mostly
Like,
because our bad
yes,
is so
we've only
well.
seen one game, but like from what this looks like a lot better than our bad than I've seen last time. Simply because they look like they're playing with confidence, and you can't say playing against Path Alliance, but like you can tell like they look a little bit more free. Sometimes like when they're playstyle, they play a little bit more constrained. Sometimes a little bit too passive. Sometimes a little bit too aggressive. More often than not, they're a little bit too passive. So seeing as that they're playing a little bit more, I guess you could say, like, without the leash, it's quite nice to see.
Good Hunter?
Can you hear me?
You sound like you died for a second there. You were robotic for a second.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Beast get the first kill onto Fate though from below.
Why would you just it's this solely a solo entry play. That's a really good angle, by the way, obviously.
It is. It comes down to just the experience
I didn't even
Path Alliance and how well our bad's playing.
It's not as commonly used simply because teams usually clear downstairs before. Or sorry, my bad. Typically teams will. I thought the bomb site was upstairs, but for some reason, regardless, something. If you see vertically in the floor around any position that might be considered an entry position or even a vaultable spot, do not entry from there because you will most likely get shot. Speaking of
Redeemer gets
shot,
two. Yeah.
Redeemer's just gonna nail every shot into players that
with a
haven't
third
not for some reason, and it's
Revelation
all
last
over.
one.
That is the game. Cool, great. I can't even finish. Our bad able to finish the round before I'm able to finish my speech. And you know what else is going to be finished? That's going to be Path Alliance's end in their winners bracket standpoint. They'll become now losers bracket, so they still have a chance of making it to CL. However, seeing as that's from their performance they had so far, it's not going to seem so likely. Our bad playing really well, and we will see in the next round. I do not believe we have a game set up yet. Yes, I have to see what the other bracket looks like. So, throw it over to Benny, and I'm going to check the bracket.
Yep, we'll be back in a little bit, guys. We'll probably go with the next game with you in a little bit. We'll probably stop the stream for now. Thanks for the host, Razors, but I gotta stop stream too because I don't know the game set up because this one got away so quickly.
Just set it up. No, set it up because I think that's actually